All right, which expression is equivalent to negative 117x minus 27? So everyone, when we are taking care of this problem here, especially when we're doing standardized tests, I would really recommend taking a look at your answer choices because everyone, when you take a look at B, that's not going to be the answer because you're missing your x's, so don't even worry about B. But when you take a look at A, C, and D, everyone, what is the common factor that is pulled out? What is that common factor that's pulled out? Negative 9. So, quick question, everyone. Do we have to take a bunch of time to figure out the greatest common factor? Do we have to take time to do that right now? No, we don't. That's really, really cool. That's really, really convenient. So let's go ahead and begin right there, understanding immediately that with 117x, or negative 117x, minus 27, that negative 9 is the greatest common factor. All that's left for us to do is figure out what happens when we divide the negative 9 out of each of these terms. And everybody, I'm going to make this even easier for you, especially if we're, not really granted a ton of time on this. Let me start off with this second one, everybody. Help me out. What is negative 27 divided by negative 9? Help me out, everybody. A negative divided by a negative, yeah, that's going to be a positive. And then 27 divided by 9, that'll be 3. So this problem here is going to end in plus 3. Everyone, can you point out if this problem has been solved or not? Because I'm taking a look and there seems to be only one answer that ends in plus 3. So do I have to go ahead and figure out that 117 divided by 9 is actually 13? Well, no, you don't even have to do that work either because these are all positive 13. You just have to figure out that last one here, that plus 3, and now that we have it, we're done. We don't need to take all the time in the world. The correct answer here is answer choice D. All right, let's go ahead and tackle this problem here, regardless of how easy it looks. Let's make proper work of it. So here we go. First things first is we're going to identify what's going on with the x, because the one thing that I'm going to repeat in any video that you might hear me solving equations in is that we are working backwards. Solving equations is all about getting this variable all by itself. So with that, everybody, to work backwards, we identify that we see that we're adding 59 onto that x. And so working backwards looks like this. If I want to get just x by itself, because that is the goal at the end, what I really need to do is get rid of this. And getting rid of it means doing the opposite operation. I see plus 59, so I'll reverse those operations to subtract 59 on both sides, just like that. And so what that's going to give me on the left side is a cancellation, so I can get the x by itself, because again, that's what I wanted. And then when we take a look at 114 minus 59, we're going to have to do a little bit of borrowing. Borrow from the 1 to make it 14, and that's going to end in a 5. And then we have 10 minus 5 right there, 10, and that ends up being 5. So there we go. We have x equals 55, and that's pretty much it. We're done. If we wanted to check our work, all we need to do is take the original equation, x plus 59 equals 114, and we would go ahead and plug in that 55 for x. So that would be 55 plus 59. And yeah, indeed, that does equal 114, and we're all good. But there it is. Correct answer here is answer choice D, just working backwards, subtracting 59 from both sides. Out this problem here, we can see that the goal of the problem is to solve for x. Right there, plain as day, the question statement says, hey, what is x? So we know what we're looking for now, and what we're told to do is we're told to use this equation, y equals mx plus b. All right, let's write that down, mx plus b. And here's what we have to pay attention to. The numbers that we're given aren't just some willy-nilly set of numbers that we can plug in anywhere. we have to be careful here. We're told that y is 47, so what I'll do is I'll replace the y right here with 47. Again, it's all about making sure you contextualize, understand what's actually going on. Then up next, we see that we're given m, b, and we're looking for x. So I'll keep x highlighted right there, and I'll replace the m with 5 right there, or write x where it is. And then we are told that b is 7. So there we are, there, plus 7. So now that we're here, what our goal is from this moment forward is isolating x, getting x all by itself. The only problem is we have two little things. We have 5 multiplied by x, and then we have plus 7. So, my party people, can you tell me, when we're working backwards from the order of operations in this instance, if we're working backwards, should we divide the 5 first or subtract the 7 first? Which one should we actually do? Yeah, we're supposed to be subtracting. And the reason is, this is a pair. This is grouped up. This is multiplied. Going forward with the order of operations, we would add at the end. So to work backwards, we'll do the opposite of adding at the end, which is going to be subtracting 7. I'll do that from both sides and watch how much easier this becomes. Take a look. Cancels out. And now we have 47 minus 4 or minus 7, which is 40. 40 equals 5x. Everyone, yes or no, did this problem just become a lot more straightforward? Oh yeah, look at that. Something that previously would have looked even slightly intimidating because it's two things going on. Now we've been able to simplify it into just one final step. And it's the same main idea. We're working backwards. The opposite of multiplying by 5 is going to be divide by 5 on both sides. Nice and easy. Cancels out on the right. And 40 divided by 5, that's going to give us 8. So the correct answer here is x equals 8, which corresponds with answer choice A. All right, so moving on to this one here, we have which expression is equivalent to 9x plus 4 all squared. So I love this problem, not because everybody always gets it wrong and it makes me laugh and brings me joy on a Monday, evening, but for the reason that it's very easy to overcome. It's a very easy mistake to make, but at the same time, it's a very easy mistake to overcome. Now, let me show you what that common mistake is. We have 9x plus 4 all squared. Here's what people do. People go ahead and think that this squared here means, hey, I can distribute the squared to the 9x and to that 4. Yeah, maybe, sure, but this is what you would get if you think that that's the right way to go about it. You're going to think that we have 9x all squared, so 9 squared is 81, 9 times 9, and then x times x is x squared. And then you might think that, okay, 4 times 4, 4 squared, that's 16. You might think that that's what the correct answer is, answer choice B, but no, that's not what's going on. Let me show you the right way to think about this. Everyone, to do this, let me just show you that you already know this. So let's say we have 3 squared, everybody. I know a lot of us are thinking 9, 9, 9. Yeah, you're right, you're correct. But also, everybody, isn't it true that 3 squared is 3 multiplied by itself, 3 times 3? Isn't that true? Isn't that the fact of 3 squared? Yeah, right? It's true. It's true. Now, in the same breath, everyone, in the same breath, can we also say that x squared is the same as x multiplied by x? X times itself. Isn't that what a power or exponent is of 2? If it's a 2, it means 2 of those values multiplied together. And this is the moment where if you did make this mistake and chose B, you're starting to realize, oh, B is not actually the answer. I actually see what the right answer is, and that's okay. Let me show you now. So let's take this same idea here and apply it here. So if we have 9x plus 4 all squared, everybody, what this actually equals is 9x plus 4 multiplied by 9x plus 4. That's what it is. Because remember, everyone, the exponent of 2 means multiply the same thing by itself twice. X squared, x times itself twice. 9x plus 4 all squared, it's 9x plus 4 times 9x plus 4. That's the idea. And this is the importance of those fundamentals that I am really stressing, problem by problem, because that's how you can make sense of those, quote, complicated questions. Any question of this topic can be explained by the rules that we're trying to follow. Every single one. So now that we're here and we see what this actually is, we've prepared for this actually. We know that we are going to be distributing nice and easy. So allow me to just take this, maybe move it to the side or make it smaller, and allow myself a little more room to work with this. So we're going to distribute the 9x to the 9x. So that'll be 9 times 9, which is 81, x times x, x squared. Then we'll go ahead and continue by distributing the 9x to the 4. 9x times 4, that'll go ahead and be 36. So that'll be 36x. Don't forget about that x right there. Up next, we'll continue on with 4 times 9x, the same as 9x times 4. So again, another 36x. And then lastly, we have the 4 times 4, which is going to be 16. And so just remember, make sure everything from one parentheses multiplies with everything from the other, and you're good. And now from here, we're going to go ahead and combine like terms, which it's just going to be 36x and 36x together. Add those together and help me out, everybody. 36 plus 36, what does that give us? Yeah, 72. So we have 72x, because again, we're adding. So we have 36 of these x's here, 36 of those x's there, add them together, and that's 72 total x's. Then we bring that 16 at the end, and we're done. So the correct answer here, everybody, again, is not B. It is actually answer choice C. But look at how similar they are, though. All we're missing is that 72x in the middle, which is so easy to overlook when you're only thinking about it like that. So hopefully this is a good little practice one. Hopefully it's not too much of a too much anger being induced. But once we get past that part, hopefully we can see that again. This is a very easy problem to get if you know the rule. All right, so on to this next question. We see that it says, solve this absolute value equation. So it says the absolute value of x is equal to 43. So the way that this is supposed to be read is the following way, everybody. This is going to be read as the distance that x is from 0 is 43. So x is 43 away from 0. Hear me out again. We are talking about distance. When you're talking distance, you could be going the negative direction or positive direction, but we're just going to take the raw number for distance. So here's what this means. This means that x could be equal to 43, or x could be equal to negative 43. Both of these scenarios end up working out because when you take a look at a little number line over here, and we have 0, let's say we have negative 43 over here and 43 over there. What is happening here, everybody, is if we measure the distance from 0 to 43, hey, that's 43, we can just say miles. If we go the other way, going from 0 to negative 43, guess what? The distance is still 43 miles. Think about it like using a map. You're not going to say that, hey, the grocery store is a mile north, and then my school is -1 miles south. That makes no sense, right? That makes no sense coming out of my mouth. And that's how you want to think about it. Absolute value measures distance. You can have the distance from 0 to negative 43 be the same as the distance from 0 to 43. Again, we're just taking the sign away. So just to prove everything, let me just go ahead and show you. If I plug in positive 43 for the absolute value, Yeah, that is indeed 43, because that's just taking away the sign, never had a negative to begin with. And then second, we have the absolute value of negative 43, and that's just, again, asking for the distance from 0. And if that's too much to remember, just think about it like this. Absolute value means take the negative away. So here, take the negative away, booyah, and there you go. So you can clearly see that we get the proper correct answer with a positive 43 or negative 43, and that's why the correct answer is answer choice B, because both positive and negative 43 work to get the correct answer. So there we are, my party people. Hopefully this is a nice, good start to a nice, long, healthy relationship with math. All right, on to the next one, my party people. So here, which expression is equivalent to x minus 21 all squared? So this one's going to be a good one, because if you've been paying attention to the previous questions, then you might think that, oh man, I know the shortcut to this one, but you have to be careful, everybody, because we have a negative here on the inside, and that can change some things up. So we have to be careful. So what I'm going to remind you of is that x minus 21 all squared, this is the same as saying x minus 21 multiplied by itself, multiplied by x minus 21. So that's part one, understanding what that actually means. And now number two, we'll go ahead and expand. So we'll have x multiplied by x squared. Then up next, we have x multiplied by the negative 21, which is minus 21x. Up next, we have negative 21 times x, which is the same exact thing as before, so minus 21x. And lastly, we have negative 21 times negative 21. But everybody, if we look at all of our answers, I think we can guess at what 21 times itself is. You know, negative net times negative is positive, and then that'll be 441. So I'm not going to waste my time. I see that the answer choices help me out plenty. So the only thing I need to remind myself of is combining like terms. And be careful. This is a negative 21x with a negative 21x. So that's like saying, hey, 21 plus 21, but in the negative direction. Everyone, if you're already at negative 21 and you subtract another 21, we're at negative 42. So we have x squared minus 42x plus 441. And that makes the correct answer here. Answer choice B, x squared minus 42x plus 441. Let's take care of business here, solving for x. So here what we see going on is we have 3 multiplied by the group 6x plus 9 and the group or parentheses. And then we have plus 9 again, and then equals 126. So be very careful here, because what I notice is that we don't have this 9 on the other side that's on this side. We have one variable, which is good, but we have this parentheses here that we can definitely take care of. Now, we can take care of this parentheses in 2 ways. Dividing all terms by 3, which you got to be careful, and remember that this is going to be divided by as well. Or we can go ahead and play the safe route and just distribute the 3 and take care of business one step at a time. I'll do both. I will do both. But first, I will begin with the distribution method. So here we go. If I were to distribute, remember that you distribute to everything within the parentheses. So this would be 3 times 6x and 3 times the 9. So here, 3 times 6x will give us 18x. 3 multiplied by 9 gives us 27. And then we bring everything else back in. So the plus 9 and then the 126. So now that we're here, what I can do now is I can combine some terms together. I clearly see that we have a 27 and a 9 that we can bring together. And everybody, what's 27 and 9 added together? What's that going to be? Combine those and we end up getting 18x plus 36. Yeah, there we go. And now this just becomes another regular old equation. So we just had to distribute the 3 first, making sure that we only did it to the terms inside the parentheses and not to the 9 that was sitting there just chilling. Okay? So once we did that, then we can combine the 27 and 9 to get the 36. And now we just continue by subtracting 36 on both sides. Cancels out on the left, leaving us with 18x equals, and this is going to be 90. And the last step here is dividing both sides by 18. And we're done. 90 divided by 18 is the same thing as what? We can divide both by 9. And that ends up giving 10 divided by 2, which is 5. So cool. We can absolutely do it that way. We can get x equals 5 like that. And let me go ahead and show you, as promised, what we would do if we were to just straight up divide from the very beginning. So let me show you over here. I'm going to move this over. And what I'm going to do is show you what's going to happen here. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. This is what that would look like. If we went ahead and divided all sides or all terms by 3, this is how it would look. And so what would happen is we would divide and cancel out here, leaving us with the 6x plus 9. This part over here, 9 divided by 3, quickly everybody answer that for me. 9 divided by 3 gives us what? Yeah, that'll just be 3. So we'll just do plus 3. And then 126 divided by 3, what'll that be, everybody? 120 divided by 3 would be 40. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So that would be 42. If we knew our mental math, just fairly quickly enough, that's what we would get. You can check with your, paper and pencil. But now that we're here, we can add the 9 and the 3 together, and that gives us 6x plus 12. And look at the rest of the solution. The rest of this is actually pretty straightforward. Once we, got that fraction out of the way, now we can just complete this by subtracting 12 on both sides, which gives us 6x equals 30, and then divide by 6 on both sides to give us x equals 5. Again, the same correct answer could have been done with some mental math, could have saved us some time, but regardless, both of these methods are correct, and they both work. Taking a look at this next equation, we see a parentheses in the way that we can absolutely take care of, and let's go ahead and figure out how we can take care of it. Because there are going to be two main ways that we can take care of this problem, and I want to make sure that you see it the same way that I do, because when you have more than one way to get a problem done, it's important that you pick the most effective way, and practicing both really just naturally helps you see the more effective way. So everyone, here we go. When we see this parentheses, what is that word that starts with a D that we can go ahead and perform when it comes to this parentheses? Yeah, we can distribute. And trick question, we can also divide. I'll show you how that looks. So in this first way, I'll go ahead and distribute. We have 7x minus 6 equals 21. When we distribute the 7 to the x, we get 7x. But don't forget, everybody, don't forget, because once we distribute to all terms. You got to be careful there. So with that, we have 7 multiplied by the negative 6. Everybody, what is 7 multiplied by negative 6 going to give us? Yeah, 7 multiplied by negative 6, that's going to end up at 42, but negative 42. So we have 7x minus 42 is going to equal 21. Now that we're here, everybody, looks a little easier, slightly easier. But what we're going to do now is we're going to get rid of that minus 42. Everybody, what is the opposite of subtracting 42? Yeah, easy does it. The opposite is addition. We will add 42 to both sides. And once we do that, cancels out on the left, leaves you with 7x equals 63. on the right. All right, everybody. Last step. What are we going to do here? 7x equals 63. 7 and x are being multiplied. So yeah, we'll divide both sides by that 7. So once we do that here on the left and right sides, booyah there on the left and right, and we'll have x equals 9. Just like that. Now, again, I want to show you another way to do this, especially if the numbers are pretty convenient. Because what you notice here is we multiplied to distribute, then we added, then we divided. 3 steps. I can show you a way to get this done in 2 steps. Question, everybody. What did we say the operation was when we distribute? What operation is happening when we distribute the 7 to everything on the inside? Yeah, multiplication. And check that out, everybody. Check this out. It is 7 multiplied by the entire x minus 6. What is the opposite of dividing, or excuse me, what is the opposite of multiplying the entire parentheses by 7? Yeah, dividing. Absolutely. So check this out. Check this out. I'm going to divide both sides by 7. Look at what happens. Look at this. 7 times this whole thing divided by 7, that's going to cancel out right there and there. And so we have x minus 6. And everybody, what's 21 divided by 7? Yeah, 21 divided by 7, that's going to land us right here at 3. And then we have one more step to do. We'll get rid of the minus 6 by adding 6 on both sides. And look at our final answer. The exact same. X equals 3 plus 6, which is 9. But notice how we got this in 1, 2 steps versus 1, 2, 3. And there we go. Again, there's more than one way to get the same correct answer. And I really want to make sure you are open to learning it, again, in more than one way. So there we go, my party people. On to the next. And as we approach this next problem, everyone, remember, what we are going to do is we are going to try to get x by itself. So we see here that it says 8 multiplied by this parentheses, which is going to be a grouping, but 8 multiplied by the group, x plus 11, all of that is going to equal 168. Now, everybody, there are a couple of ways that we can take care of this, but the main way that we're going to take care of this here is getting rid of the parentheses from the very beginning by performing this little math rule that starts with a D when it comes to multiplying the 8 to every term inside the parentheses. Yeah, that's going to be the distributive property. That is right. That is the distributive property, my party people. So with that said, here's what's going to happen. 8 distributes to the x. Everybody, 8 times x is what? How do we write that out? When we multiply a whole number by a variable, yeah, we just stick those terms together, and that's going to be 8x. Next up, we are going to have 8 multiplied by 11. 8 times 11, that's going to give us what? Yep, that'll be 88. We have those. Booyah right there. And that's going to be 168. So everybody, now that we've gotten rid of that parentheses, is this a much easier time? Is this a much easier equation to look at and solve? Yeah, I agree. I think so too. So now that we're here, let's get to work. I'm going to just isolate this on this part of my paper, and let's get to it. Because the first thing I would do is understand what's going on going forward. So we have 8 times the x. Then we would add the 88. So the first thing I do is get rid of that 88. I'll subtract 88 on both sides. Booyah right there and there. And what's going to happen is we cancel out on the left, leaving us with 8x equals 168 minus 88. And that's going to leave us with what, everybody? Careful. Not going to be 90. It's going to be 80 because 8 minus 8 is 0. 16 minus 8 is 8. And now that we're here, the last step that we need to take is getting rid of the 8. So divide both sides by 8. Booyah, we're good. Cancels out. And we are left with x equals 10. 80 divided by 8 gives us 10. And there we are. Correct answer is answer choice B. Next up, we have which expression is equivalent to x plus 46 all squared? All right, so when we're handling business here, like I've said in previous questions, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is thinking that the square or the power of 2 just means, hey, we're going to take this and just square the x and square the 46 and we're done. And that's not the case, everybody. Remember, what we need to do is understand that we have x plus 46 times itself times x plus 46. That's really what that means. So we're going to apply the same rules for distribution, and it's going to be x times x. Then we have x multiplied by 46. So that's 46x. Then we have 46x again. And then we have 46 times 46, which if I'm not using a calculator, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to look at my answer choices and make a deduction. The deduction is that 46 times 46 is 2116. So no need to waste any time. Test-taking strategies, when they're available, they work. So lastly, all we need to determine is what 46x plus 46x is. And that's just adding 46 times 2, or 46 plus 46, and that's just 92. So we have x squared plus 92x plus 2116, and that makes our correct answer for this one, answer choice C.